What up, players? It's Warboss Tay back up in this mug. Welcome to episode 2 of the Warboss Podcoss here on YouTube. It is an audio-only show, so you could put this video on, have it playing in the background while you're working on your hobby, while you're cleaning the house, while you're going on your run, while you're sitting in traffic or on the train. I hope that this video keeps you company, keeps you entertained, and provides some good, thought-provoking content to fill up your brain. I listened to this great analysis of the content that we consume, and the person was talking about how a lot of the content that we consume on YouTube, entertainment-wise, or if we're into politics and anything of that sort, it's just a lot of empty calories. It's a lot of yelling and rhetoric and heightened just stimulation, but at the end of the day, it's not doing anything for you. It's not increasing your skill set. It's not making you think. It's not elevating your consciousness. It's just, empty calories like potato chips. So what I want to do is I want to be a source of not only entertainment and thought-provoking content, but also some bits of advice and education, some experience from my time as a painter in this glorious hobby that we all know and love, painting miniatures for our own collections and for fun, for profit, for posterity, for the future. So here we go, episode 2. I wanted to talk to you today a little bit about the Death Leaper model from the Tyranids that has been all over Twitter and all over the social media. Games Workshop is showcasing that this model is let's take a look. The official Warhammer Instagram account hit a very special milestone of 500,000 followers. So they released this sneaky looking creature bioform. It's called the Death Leaper. And it looks really, really nice. It's a giant alien lictor bioform that is on some scenery. It looks terrific. I'm not a big fan of Tyranid models, but very evocative pieces like this. It's got like the big pointy claws, the tentacles coming down his face, and they gave it like a cape. It looks like some membrane connected between spines on its back that falls down behind. It looks like a cape, but actually, I mean, if you think of it like the membrane of an octopus that connects the tentacles, it makes more sense, especially if the Death Leaper is supposed to be like gliding through the air, jumping really high and stuff, then it makes sense from a design aspect. And also, you don't see this kind of thing on other models. The wings of the Tyranids are usually unfurled and in mid-flying glide pose. So this is really cool. As an artist, I love the look of this model. I'm not a huge fan of Tyranids in general. The Zerg Rush, like mindless swarm, has never really appealed to me as a painter or a collector. Maybe also because when I used to live in Hawaii, I had this huge deathly fear of cockroaches, and I just don't like bugs in general. So I'd rather paint the good guys or things with more character like orcs. Just a bunch of mindless insects and bugs is like not appealing to me. But this Death Leaper, ooh, it looks real nice. Real nice. So good job, Games Workshop. And in the article on the Warhammer community page, they do stack it up next to an old school lictor. It looks like a metal one too. And it looks so nice. It looks really, really nice. So if I were to collect a Tyranid army, that would definitely be the model that I would be basing the whole collection around. It looks like a joy to paint. And I wonder if any influencers are going to get a model. This is fun because influencers have been getting early release models more and more. I've seen usually, a while ago, a couple months back, when they're releasing models or kits, or maybe like going back to Cursed City last year, there would be a couple of influencers that would get the box a little early and they'd talk about the models and they'd show them off. But now influencers on Twitter, I'm seeing getting their boxes so early. And they're always thanking Warhammer in the tweet. Like, thanks to @Warhammer for sending me a box so I could paint them up. And I'm just sitting there, like, looking at my screen, like, oh, man, I wish I could get my hands on some models early. Not so much the Leviathan box set. I'm not super into 40K for, like, the models. And if I were to paint up some Space Marines, I'd probably paint them up as, like, Carcharodons or something totally crazy. Like my last Space Marines project was a Raven Guard force. So I don't know if I would go with the traditional Ultramarines color scheme and, Tyranids. It will just be a slog for me to get through. But I'm looking ahead at the old world. And man, if I can get my hands on an early release of the old world, show them off to you guys, paint them up, and just do some really fun things with those models, I'm sure they're going to be Bretonnians and Tomb Kings. They've got to. I mean, what else could they possibly be in that box? And I would love to do them in different color schemes and just show them off. But fingers crossed, guys. Contact your local game store manager. Tell them to send me a box, or tweet about it. Because man, I would love to get a copy of the old world. Anyways, that's just me daydreaming again. I wanted to tell you guys this episode is really about motivating you to get back in that seat, start painting some models. And I've been listening to some good podcasts, reading some good audiobooks, and watching some good videos on motivation and not getting burnt out. Big problem with us Warhammer collectors or miniatures games hobbyists is we love the shiny new model syndrome. We love to get that dopamine hit of putting down the money, getting the box, returning home, maybe opening it up and building it up, but then maybe we don't even paint them for forever. And I want to help you all to catapult yourself out of that phase, out of that mind frame. And that's another just quick hit of dopamine, right? You buy the box, you get home, you crack them open, you look at the sprue, and maybe at some point when you're looking at those models on the sprue, you think, this is just too hard to build up. This is going to be too intricate. Maybe I'll try building a couple models, but like the Caradon Overlords or the Disciples of Tzeentch that I got in the Aether War box, I look at those sprues and I think, this is just not for me right now. I'm not interested in all these intricate models. You got to be in the right mind frame. So I thought, how can I help my listeners, my viewers, to get in the right frame to sit yourself down in the chair and start painting some miniatures? And what it comes down to is going into what I call the battle station. I'm going to call the paint station right now our battle station, because that's where we go to war. That's where we fight the Great Crusade. So your battle station has to be ready to go. And in the last episode of this podcast, I talked about organizing your paint station, and I'm going to drill down even more today because I want to keep that motivation, keep that drive going, keep that fire going. So take a look at the Discord, because one of our members and one of my patrons, Pix, has posted up a picture of a very clean, stripped down hobby station, just game mat for painting on top of, some paints, good light, everything at hand, brushes, water, all the tools that would be possibly needed to build or assemble and paint. And that's what I'm talking about. You want a stripped down battle station that will serve all of your needs and let you get into the flow state even faster. The flow state, if you're not familiar with it, is that state of mind when you're working and your energy is high, your focus is hyper intensified, and it's like really laser drilled into what you're doing. So time passes really quickly. Your body is moving at a quick and very detailed pace where you're not sluggish, you're not tired, and you're focused on what you're doing, so much so that the entire world kind of drowns out around you. So that's the state of mind I want us to get into. You're going to hear me talking about it a lot on the podcast, because my goal as a content creator, as a mentor, is to help you get into the flow state so that you work and you produce and you feel good about it after. The best part of painting is putting down your brush, closing the paint pots, and sitting back and thinking, I did a lot today. I made some serious strides, and I got rid of a lot of gray models. I put a lot of paint on models, and that's the state we want to be in. So here's my tip for the day. Just do one thing. After you clean your paint station, strip it down, and have only what you really need to get going. Don't confuse yourself by having a bunch of different models and all of your paints out on the table. As tempting as it is, put those paints in some paint racks or have them set aside. Only have the paints you know you're going to need. If you're only working on a highlight on one specific part of the models, then only have those paints out. Keep it so that you're drilled into the steps that you're going to be working on. then you don't have to worry about being distracted by new colors or doing something different. Just focus on whatever you're going to be doing. And here's my tip for the day, okay? This is the simplest thing, and it is also called in I guess in other like productivity circles, it's called floss one tooth. And it is the philosophy that a lot of us don't like to floss our teeth, or we feel like this dread of flossing our teeth every night, and we're not into the habit of doing it. It's not a habit that we are able to get into as easily. Flossing takes a lot of energy, a lot of time, a lot of effort, and as a result, we don't when we really should. So how do we overcome this? Instead of thinking I'm going to floss my teeth, think of getting the floss out and just flossing one tooth. And when you do that, you get the floss out, you wrap it around your fingers, you're in position, and you floss one tooth. Your brain is going to think, okay, I'm done. I don't have to do any more. But you're already there. You've got the floss around your fingers. You're in front of the mirror, or you're in your shower and you're doing it. Why stop at one? Just, okay, so floss another tooth and floss another tooth. Oh, and now you've got to floss like the opposite side, because otherwise you're all uneven, right? So you trick your brain into doing more, because you tell yourself you're only going to set a goal for a small thing, and when you get there, the momentum carries you to continue. So give that a try. When you sit down to paint, the next time you're at your battle station, only set the goal of painting one thing. For example, the barrel of your las rifles on your infantry. And say, I'm just going to paint this part. I'm not going to worry about anything else. That's all I'm going to paint. And then when you're sitting there and you finish painting that barrel of the las rifle, what do you know? You're already there. Why not paint the rest of the las rifles? Okay, and now that you've painted the las rifle, you might as well paint anything that's silver or black on the model. So you go to work on the boots, you go to work on the buckles and the clasps. And then before you know it, you're painting more and more and more, because you set yourself a very small goal. Now, you shouldn't do this all the time, or else you're going to only be taking micro baby steps. You want to space these out. Have more action-oriented goals that are a little bit bigger, a little bit more of a reach, so that you can work towards a goal. But if you find yourself burnt out, if you find yourself not motivated, you really don't want to sit down, just tell yourself, all right, tonight, I'm not going to spend a lot of time in my chair. I'm not going to spend a lot of time at my battle station. I'm only going to paint the faces, or the uniform, or something small, very, very small, just one step. And as you're there, if that's all you do, then that's fine. That's all you do. But hey, you get more done than you did yesterday. Your models are a step closer to completion. And the step is so small that you might find yourself wanting to paint more. Your momentum is going to gather and grow like a snowball. It's going to push you forward into doing more, because who wants to just paint one small thing, right? So you're going to be already sitting in the chair. You're already at your hobby station. Why not paint more? You force yourself, not force, but you subconsciously urge yourself to paint more than you thought you would. All right, floss one tooth. That's today's goal. That's today's philosophy. I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope you enjoyed our little look at the Death Leaper miniature for the Tyranid range. That's not coming out in Leviathan, is it? I think that's going to be released as a separate launch miniature, because Leviathan is packed. It's got a lot of stuff in it. All right, guys, if you enjoyed this podcast, I'm hoping to release more. And they're not going to be very long and drawn out. They're just going to be really quick audio-only shows that will help you get through a commute, or just up to a half an hour a day, just to check in with you guys and let you know that I'm working hard, and I want to give you some valuable content that you can think about, that you can mull over. You can play it in the background so that it's going while you're working. And I just hope you enjoy. I hope you enjoy your time at the hobby table. If nothing else, as a content creator, as an artist, as someone who wants to inspire and encourage and ignite that creative fire in more people in our community, my biggest thing is that you enjoy your time painting. Don't let it be a slog. Don't let it get you down. Don't dread your time at the table, because the more work you get done, the more you can just sit and put paint on your miniatures, the more you're going to have painted. And no matter what your skill level is, you can start today and get better. The fastest way up the mountain is by putting one foot in front of the other. Just do that over and over and over again. But the way you're never going to get your models painted, and the way you're just going to end up with a garage of shame, like many of us have, is to sit down just a couple steps up that mountain and say, you know what, this is too hard. I took a couple steps and I'm nowhere near the top, so this is not worth it. I'm just going to sit here and pout and complain and talk about how hard it is. Now, don't do that. Get up, brush yourself off, one foot in front of the other, over and over and over again. Get into the flow state so you don't even notice that you're putting one foot into the other, in front of the other. Put on some podcasts, listen to some good music. And you know what? If you need to take a break, then it's the best time right now to get out and walk around your neighborhood, take a quick walk to just energize yourself. And you know what I found out? 75% of us are dehydrated, like chronically dehydrated. So have a cup of water by your paint station. Don't mix it up with your paint water. Don't drink your paint water. Drink some good, clean, good water, filtered water, mineral water, not the junk out of the tap. And keep yourself hydrated, keep yourself energized. The more you do to put yourself in the right mind frame, I think the easier it's going to be to get into that flow state, the easier it's going to be to tap into that creative energy core that resides in each of us. And I'm going to get more and more into this creativity, guys and gals, but that creative fire, that spark that we have in us, that is reserved for humans. Like no animals have that, the ability to create, to make art, to produce something out of an idea, to take an idea and a picture in your head and to put it onto, make it real, put it onto a model, like a paint color scheme, or to build something and to paint something. That is in each of us. And you've got it, and it's locked away, and you might not know how to tap into it, but we're going to get there. And if you're already a seasoned pro, and everything I'm saying is like, and you're just saying, I know Warboss Tay, I know, then you can help to light that fire in others. At the end of the day, we're not just artists ourselves, but we're also teachers. And I think on Discord, I honestly think that there is no place better than social media like Discord, YouTube. Twitter is kind of a mess. Some places are a mess where you post stuff and you've got a bunch of haters or people who don't help you to grow or help you to share and continue. But Discord, like, come to my Discord, guys. If you're not there already, my Discord is full of creative people tapping into that energy, sharing their work, and learning from each other. Like, we've got so many people who know so many things about the hobby, and sharing their work can inspire you to try something different, can inspire you to do something that you might not have thought of before. Like, I'm learning so much from everybody on my Discord about so many different topics, and just seeing people posting their work, I feel like I'm living vicariously as a painter through other people doing their work and talking about it, sharing their experiences, sharing what's going well for them and what's not going well. So the Summer Painting Challenge, it's always been fun for me to hold, but now that I'm really getting back into the hobby and working on making this my full-time thing, I really am feeling more of a connection to everybody in the Discord, and just wanting to share and expand our community, make it the best community that is out there. So thank you for supporting me, you guys. Just by listening to this podcast, you're helping to bump my presence up the algorithm, and maybe we can get back to those numbers I used to see. Boy, I remember when I used to post tutorials, I would hit like 1,000 views in like a day. And now it's like, 30 views. Awesome. After a week, wow. Big numbers, guys. Big numbers. So just by listening to my podcasts, my audio podcasts, and watching my videos and sharing them, you don't even have to press the like button and subscribe if you're not, like, I don't want to put any kind of pressure on you. Just keep, my content here on YouTube is for, for the world. So check it out. And if you do want to support me, I've got my Patreon. You can become a patron and support me through there. Play the Heroes of Hobbyton mini game. And you can also support me by checking out my Redbubble store. I know I don't plug my Redbubble store as much. It's really more of a side hustle thing, but I've got a bunch of designs there, and I'm always trying to put more designs there for different products. I'm also a writer, so you could check out my Saga of Sir Bryan. That's my biggest thing that I've got. I've got a link down below in the description of this video for that. So check it out. The first book is free on ebook and audiobook. I really think the best way to absorb that content is through audiobook, because my narrator is just amazing at doing impressions of celebrities. He's just fantastic. So if you do check out that, definitely download the audiobook. It's only like 45 minutes or something. They're short 500-word stories. Each book is just 10 of those 500-word stories. And I think that's it, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Again, before you leave, subscribe, hit the like button, do all the things that the algorithm will be very happy with you doing. And thank you so much for checking it out. We'll see you in the next video.